Hey kids, welcome to Story Hour Online. Well, we're in the month of November. The trees are a little bit barer. The nighttime comes a whole lot earlier in the day. So we're going to head to the farm where Otis lives, and we're going to find out how he interacts with a scarecrow. Otis and the Scarecrow. Words and Pictures by Loren Long. It was summer when the Scarecrow first came to the farm where the friendly little tractor named Otis lived, back when the corn was tall and ripe. Otis recalled how the cows had scattered at first. They wanted nothing to do with the Scarecrow, which made the farmer very happy. Otis was also happy. A new friend had come to live on the farm. But when Otis went to welcome him, the Scarecrow didn't smile or say hello. He just stood there, a sour look on his face, staring at the cornfield. After a while, Otis left him alone. When the farm animals came by to greet the Scarecrow, once again, he didn't smile or say hello. He just stood there, that sour look on his face, staring at the cornfield. The animals didn't know what to think. Who was this new creature? The horse curled his lip at the Scarecrow's musty smell. The ducks pointed at his tattered clothes. The little calf and the puppy were frightened by him. Finally, the bull snarled, huffed, and turned away. And the Scarecrow stood there, alone. Summer passed, and by, the crows came back around. They perched, picked, and pecked at the Scarecrow. Otis noticed that the Scarecrow didn't shoo them away. He just stood there with that sour look on his face, staring off at the cornfield. Otis puffed a soft sigh and turned to catch up with his friends. Autumn eventually arrived. The days grew shorter and cooler. Harvest time had left the fields bare, except for the plump pumpkins dotting the fields orange. Otis began pulling wagons filled with children, eager to pick out a pumpkin to carve into a jack-o'-lantern. The farm looked different, but Otis loved the changing seasons, and he worked and played as hard as ever. Put, puttity chuff. It was a splendid time on the farm for being together with family and friends. The cool air drifting through the hills made the animals more rambunctious than ever. A simple game of follow the leader turned into a reckless race over the rolling hills. A game of hide and seek turned into a rowdy rendition of Ring Around the Rosie, the animals playfully circling Otis as he sat counting 1 putt, 2 puff, 3 puttity puff, 4 chuff. When Otis tuckered out from all the games, he headed up to the hill to the apple tree. His frisky friends would join him, and when they were all sitting together, Otis would challenge everyone to a different game. The quiet game. The quiet game is a contest in which everyone must stay quiet and still. No sounds, no laughing, no snorting, quacking, giggling, or puffing. The player who stays quiet the longest wins. Otis knew the animals loved playing any game, even one that challenged them to sit still. To start the game, he would surge his engine to get everyone's attention, take in a deep breath of air, and let out a long, soft put, puff, puttity, shh. Otis would sit quietly and look over the farm. There was Mud Pond, full with the autumn rains. There were the plump pumpkins dotting the orange fields. There were the shocks of corn fodder, all in a row. And there, still, was the Scarecrow, all alone, staring sternly at the empty cornfield. The puppy was always the first to lose the quiet game. He just couldn't sit still. The bull would twitch his nose, which made the little calf giggle. This made the bull chuckle with a snort. The bull's snort would amuse the ducks, and their bottoms would wiggle as they held back their giggles. The sight of the ducks' wiggling bottoms would amuse the horse so much that he would roll on the ground, neighing with laughter. At this, the ducks would quack out loud, and soon everyone would be laughing, snorting, quacking, and giggling. This always left Otis the winner, a big grin on his face as he sat under the apple tree with his friends. One day, cold rain set in. Otis and his animal friends ran for cover under the apple tree. They huddled together for warmth as Otis looked over the farm. There was the overflowing mud pond. There were the shiny wet pumpkins and the soaked corn shocks all in a row. And there, swaying back and forth in the cold wind and rain, was the Scarecrow. Otis couldn't take his eyes off of him. He thought about how the Scarecrow must feel. Otis stood up. He marched down the hill, put, puff, puttity chuff, and crossed into the empty field. Without hesitation, Otis chuffed and puffed straight up to the Scarecrow. Back under the apple tree, the animals watched intently. Otis looked up into the painted eyes of the Scarecrow and smiled. The Scarecrow didn't smile back. He just stared off at the empty cornfield, as always. The two of them stood quietly in that great big field as the wind and rain battered them. Then Otis turned his body around and backed right up alongside the Scarecrow, and with a chuff, he sat down next to him. Suddenly, the little calf and the puppy scampered down the hillside, crossed into the cornfield, and curled up right next to Otis. Gradually, the cow and horse ambled down the hillside. Before long, the ducks waddled their way down too. And finally, the big bull sauntered down into the field joining the others. Otis surged his engine to get everyone's attention, took in a deep breath of air, and that let out a long, soft put, puff, puttity shh. Otis and the animals sat quietly. Until the puppy couldn't sit still another minute. The bull snorted on the calf's ears, the ducks wiggled their bottoms, and soon everyone was giggling, quackling, laughing, and even puffing. Everyone except the Scarecrow, of course, who never uttered a sound. Yet, as Otis watched, he couldn't be sure, but he thought he might have seen the Scarecrow smile. Either way, Otis thought, the Scarecrow didn't look so lonely anymore, surrounded by friends. The end. I enjoy Otis books. He's another one of my favorite characters. I hope you guys enjoyed that book. For today's craft, we're going to go to my favorite website, simplemomproject.com, and we're going to print out a scarecrow. Now this is a girl scarecrow, gentlemen, but if you don't attach her ponytails, it could be a boy, I think. All right, so there's a blank template for you to color, or there's a colored one. Make sure you get out and enjoy the cool breeze today and see if there's any trees left in your neighborhood. I'm sorry, see if there are any leaves left on your tree in your neighborhood today. You know, still try and make some leaf piles and jump into them. It's getting cold, so make sure you stay warm and healthy. I'll see you next week. Bye.